Good. You look very, very well.
Oh, thank you. The lighting's amazing.
Oh, James, who works on our show, just said, he goes, "What are those pictures behind George in the shot? Does he done those?" And I'm like, "Absolutely."
Yeah. Yes, that one on the right is called a vivid handbag on a grey day.
Nice. I like that.
That's good.
They've always got like ridiculous names that, like stupid names, but I love that,
George's art is brilliant. I love George's artwork. I really, really love it. It's very me. I like, and there's a piece that he's got. Last time I was round there on the wall, and I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." I've got my eye on it.
Really? Yeah. Oh,
I'll buy it.
Could be Christmas time. Come early. You never know.
I love your artwork.
Thank you.
There you go. Great. But he works really hard on the art. You would love to create, though, don't you? Like, no matter what it is, you like to create.
Yeah, I mean, the last few months, obviously, at the beginning of the lockdown, I've struggled to kind of get motivated. And then I just thought, look, you've got nothing to do right now. So let's get on with finishing some things that you've started. A lot of art pieces I start and then I kind of go off them and then I come back to them. So I just got down to work really and just really. So if I do have a show after lockdown, it will be quite big because I've done a lot of stuff.
You do. The work is amazing. I genuinely, and you know me, I genuinely love your stuff. I think it's great.
I have a sort of compulsion to create. It's a weird thing. It's like, I suppose if you're a carpenter, you just want to make things. It's the same process, I think.
But it's an interesting one because obviously you love performing live. Yes. What are the elements that you like the least? Do you hate the studio, or are you all right in the recording studio?
Oh no, the studio is like my favorite place. Right. That's where I am the most happy, hitting the proverbial. That's where I'm like, right, this is perfect. So the process of creating things is what I enjoy. Selling them is the hellish bit, but making the stuff and being involved with other creative people, in the studio, bouncing off people, arguing, sharing ideas, that's the fun bit. And then you have to go out and try and convince other people that it's good. That's when it gets boring.
And are you missing playing live?
I wasn't to start with, but now that it's been such a long time, I said early on, I didn't realize how much I missed the schedule until there wasn't one,
right.
Because I always talk about sort of normal life as being in the Matrix, so you've got all this stuff to bounce off constantly, and suddenly there's nothing to bounce off. You're bouncing off your own thoughts. And there's been a lot of, obviously, I know that you've obviously been with people, but I was on my own for a long time. And that gives you a lot of time to think. And I think the hardest person to spend time with is always yourself. It's like, so, I went back into therapy in the middle of the lockdown. I thought, you know what, maybe I need some therapy. So I've done a lot of work on myself personally, which has been really rewarding. I've done a lot of music. I've done a lot of creative stuff. I've got a single out this week with this Israeli guy called Asaf Gorem, which is really exciting. And I've done lots of collaborations, done one with Kim Wilde. I've made a record with Pete Murphy from Bauhaus. I have done some insane things in the last year that I probably never would have done had I been working, because I wouldn't have made those calls. I wouldn't have had the bravery to sort of just call up people and say, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to make some music? And it's surprising who says yes. And
why?
Says, no.
You don't mean that, though, that when you say yes, it's surprising who says yes, because I wouldn't be surprised.
No, your boy George. It's not surprising.
Yeah, but in our business, everybody's, every musician's kind of protecting their own brand, so people are quite nervous, and they seem to have, their little clique around them. I'm probably the same as well. You have your sort of safe, circle, and sometimes people are like, I think doing music with people is a bit like making love. It's a very personal space. And getting someone to come into that space and not feel sort of intimidated or whatever it's quite difficult.
Yeah, I guess as well, because if you got your way of doing it and then you go to collaborate with somebody else, you're like, do I make the first move or do I?
No, I'm right. You're wrong.
Yeah, I guess. So is the song out this week, Rainbow in the Dark?
Yes, it's out this week, and it's with this beautiful Israeli guy who's like this insane acrobat. I mean, the video, he's doing like jumping. It's just insane what he does. he's this insane, and he can sing. So he's like this insane acrobat with a beautiful voice, and very handsome. Usually God divides when they sort of create people, don't they? Either give you a sort of terrible voice and a good-looking face. You don't normally get both, but that's been real fun. And then I've got other stuff coming out. I've got a track with Kim Wilde coming out over Christmas, which is really good fun.
Is that a Christmas song?
No. It's complete. It's like it's the closest thing I can describe. It's like a Madonna record. It's me kind of going back to the 80s and saying, I never made records like that in the 80s. Let me make one like this, because secretly I quite liked it, So I've gone into sort of some of these areas like Human League, early Human League, and stuff that I just didn't do because I was in a band, and the band dictates to a certain extent the sound that you make. So when you're out of that kind of restriction, you can kind of really play around with ideas. And so I've been doing that a lot.
Right. Well, there is a live show. Finally.
Yes.
George and Culture Club will be doing a live music show. This is happening at Wembley Arena. Now, there are two ways you can see it. In the new world that we live in, you can buy a ticket and watch the streaming of it. It'll be live streamed, so you can sit on your sofa, get it through your TV, get some snacks, have a drink, watch the show.
When you're bunny rabbit slippers.
Yep. Sit there in your onesie. You don't need to worry about taxis or parking the car or anything like that. But there's also tickets, and I think there are still a few tickets left to actually go and be in. I think it's 3,000 people in Wembley Arena.
Yes, which is, going to look like it's there. It's going to look like you're the warm-up.
They'll still make some noise, though, I reckon.
There is a question that needs to be asked, which is, it's only 3,000 people. Why would you hold it in a venue that holds 15,000? You could have just done it in the back garden.
Well, yeah, there is that, but the SSS Arena is quite iconic, isn't it? I mean, I did Band Aid there with George Michael and Elton John, so it's, for me, I've played some amazing gigs at Wembley, and yeah, of course, Wembley's amazing when it's packed to the rafters. But listen, this is a situation where we all know what's going on, so you just have to adapt to what it is, and for the time being, because we're sort of, forced into this situation, you just have to try and make something work. And that's how we see it. It's a little bit of the war spirit. We must soldier on.
Yeah.
And I think people want to. I think people want to go to gigs, and they want to, they want back to normality. And as everyone keeps saying. But
desperate for it, aren't they, I think? And music is more important now than ever, I think.
Absolutely. And, we're also allowing anyone who's a first responder to get a free ticket. So
brilliant.
If you're working in the NHS or anywhere in America, you can get a free ticket. That's great.
Excellent. So if you want to go, if you go to, I think Ticketmaster are doing the tickets. It's Saturday the 19th. So it's a week on Saturday. You could actually go. The what?
It's so soon. It's
like, I know. Yeah. A week on Saturday. I know about it. Go and get a ticket and go with your other half and go and watch Culture Club and Boy George, especially if you've never seen them live. And if you can't go because of tier restrictions or whatnot, or it sells out before you get there, you can buy a ticket to watch it online. Now, this is genius. So, back in the day, you go to a gig, you get the cheapest ticket, and you're in the car, your arse is in the car park, and your nose is just about in the back of the Wembley Arena. And then you pay a bit more money, you get nearer the front, and you pay a bit more money nearer the front. Then you've got your merchandise. You want to go and buy a lovely Culture Club hoodie, or you want to get the glossy programme, and that's what you want to do. Now, you might be able to get a meet and greet with Boy George and the band.
Wow,
that's
huge.
To go backstage and meet them. But you can't do that with all the virtual stuff now. But yes, you can. So you can get... I love this, George. I'm so excited. You can buy a ticket to watch the stream. You can buy a ticket which comes with some merchandise, right? So it's like you've been to the little shop and bought something. And you can actually virtually meet and greet George and the rest of the band. That's brilliant.
Brilliant idea, that.
Actually, during the early part of the lockdown, I did a Zoom, and I basically just thought, I'm going to just put out the number on the internet. I just gave it out, and just hundreds of people were coming on. And it was kind of a little bit too chaotic in the end. Like, people were just coming on to be abusive, so I had to get rid of them. People were sharing screens with porn and all sorts of stuff.
Dear.
I'm sorry about that.
Something I would do again, but I love the idea. I love the idea of sort of just communicating with people anyway. Do you know what I mean? And I think this is a great thing. This this Zoom thing, because you can really stay in touch with people.
I saw you did it on Instagram or something one day, and I watched, and you were just, people request to chat to you. We've done it on our show, and then you would just go, okay, let's talk to you. And I loved it. And I said to Tiff, I went, George should do this once a week, because it's...
I really should. I did it a lot early on, and then I sort of got, I don't know, I kind of got over it, but I think I might start doing it again. You know, it's just that some of the questions people ask, you think, I want to talk about something interesting. Maybe I should say, right, this is a subject.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this. I don't know, because, you know, people just tend to ask you the same things or tell you they love you, which is lovely. But there's not much of a response to that, is there?
Yeah, I am excellent. Thank you.
Anyway, Ticketmaster or .co.uk, livenation.co.uk if you want to get a ticket to see George. So it's a week on Saturday at Wembley Arena. So if you're in and around London, you should definitely go, because you're allowed.
Yeah.
And if you're outside of that, or anywhere in the world, and we have a lot of listeners in Australia and the UAE, you can watch it from the comfort of your own sofa.
Perfect.
International.
Get your ticket today. Thank you. Now, when we mentioned earlier on this morning that you were going to be on, I did say if you've got any questions for George, and strangely, the number one thing that came up was your amazing appearance in the A-Team.
It was
unforgettable.
Yeah.
And I remember asking you about this, and because you have got an amazing memory, amazing. And when you're in the right mood, and because we've spent a lot of time together, I remember once asking you a question about something along the lines of, do you remember getting signed? And you backstoried it for maybe 15 minutes leading up to, and we were just sitting having a coffee, and it's fascinating. But I did ask you about the A-Team, and you were in a full episode of the A-Team.
I was, and I played. Well, originally, I think what happened to start with was that all the bands were going on Miami Vice. So I think Roy and John and Mikey were very keen to go on Miami Vice, but I think because of me, we were a little bit too camp for Miami Vice. So we got the A-Team, and originally I was just doing it myself. The band kicked off, so then they got brought in. But when they handed me the script and said, "This is what you're saying," I was like, none of this is, if I'm supposed to be playing me, this is not stuff, I would never say Totally Awesome and all this, you know, and all that, you know. Anyway, so it kind of quickly sort of transcended into a sort of a bit of a surrealist experience. And it was like, okay, I'm just going to say what they want me to say. And, you know, every time that comes on the TV, I get calls from everyone I know going, you're amazing. But one of the interesting things about that experience was, you know, having been in a sort of band at the time, they didn't get on either. It was like being with another band, because none of them spoke to each other.
Oh, really?
Doing photo calls. This one wouldn't come because Mr. T was there, and George Pepper wouldn't come because this. It was just. I was laughing. I was like, oh my god, it's just like a band.
It is fascinating.
I didn't know all that. I didn't know they were having little fallouts behind the cameras.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, they were. In fact, George Peppard apologised for everyone's behaviour.
Love that.
Really?
I love that.
Because we turned up to the photo shoot at the same time, because I like being early. I like to be on time a bit early, because I can't, because it's fuss otherwise. And we both standing there, so awkward. But I do apologise for the other lot, and I was like, I'll apologise for my lot as well. They weren't really meant to be here. She pulled their way in at the end.
Now, when are you and I going to do a DJ set together?
Oh, now then.
Name the date, baby. Name the date.
Now that would be a thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, George has been DJing a lot longer than I have, as in live DJing, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I could hold my own next to Boy George.
So what would you do? A little kind of sort of sound clash type thing?
I don't know, yeah.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd probably adjust. I don't know what I'd play.
But then that's the beauty of your sets, though, George.
I'll do a grime set.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If you've never seen George DJ, that's always a fun night as well. A very fun night. Go on.
I think if you love music, you know, DJing is just, you know, it's the best thing in the world, isn't it? You know, if you love music, it's just such fun to see people responding, and, you know, that's the best thing in the world. It's like doing a gig, you know, like doing a rock and roll gig. It's just on the same level when you got that surge of people going nuts and, you know, hands in the air. It's just like, oh, love it. Better than sex.
I keep offering. I can't remember what that is. I keep offering to Tiff. I keep saying to Tiff, "Hey, I'll teach you how to DJ. I'll show you how the decks work and how you put." She's just not interested in the slightest.
But you know what? Actually, women they just are so good at DJing. A friend of mine's daughter just took it up, and women just have better coordination. I was like, how did you learn to do that so quickly? But it is amazing. So you never know. Tiff might become Pete Tong of the female.
Yeah, that would be good.
That'd be. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be quite happy.
Trouble is, getting her out to work every Friday, Saturday, you wouldn't be very happy.
When the gigs start happening, she'll be flying all over the world with you again. So if it adds that to a DJ career, I'll never see her. So what's the plan then? So the gig is coming up a week on Saturday. The song is out now, which is Rainbow in the Dark. So between now and the gig, I guess rehearsal, you got to do that.
Yeah, rehearsals start Monday. I believe I'm going to be behind the sort of, one of those things they put around the drums.
Yeah. Soundproof.
It'll be almost like a form of karma, because when we went on the tour last 2 years ago, because John was making so much noise, I insisted on him having this shield, and he hated it. So now I'm going to have one around me. It would be sort of like a form of karma for me.
And then you've all got to be tested.
Yes, we've all got to be tested. And you know what? You just have to take the risk, don't you? You have to kind of push yourself. And, I think at this point, if we pull this off, I'll be so relieved. I don't know how we did it, because there's been so many obstacles every week. There's some more bad news. And, it's like, but, everyone's going through it. You know what I mean? I think that's the thing. Remember, you're not the only one going through it. Everybody's going through it. And some people aren't even taking any notice.
No, I know. But we are, and that's which is the main thing.
Yeah.
I'm looking after myself, and so is Dom.
Absolutely.
Before George goes, do you want to tell him how much you love his voice again?
I know, because George gets this all the time, but my dad as well, especially George, is a huge fan of your voice. And have you ever done like a gospel record or anything like that? Because he always says that you would be an incredible gospel singer if you're interested in that. I mean, he hasn't got a proposition for you at all. He's not in the music industry, but he just likes your voice a lot.
Yeah, I think there's, I think jazz, gospel, all those things kind of go into the pot. I think that, it's just one of those things. Because I think my favourite music is music that just sounds like a lot of things, but just has one other element that makes it, whoever the person is, whoever the artist is. But I really like everything. And my favourite record was always like, oh, that sounds like that, but not in a kind of annoying way. Not like, oh, it sounds exactly like that, but that reminds you of Oasis, that reminds you of that. That's my kind of record. So there's always a bit of gospel, a bit of church.
Yes.
We always use that phrase, taking it to church,
Look at the church in there. Yeah.
The last album, which was Life, if you've never heard that, listen to that, because that, oh God, good God, did I hear that a lot. That's when Tiffany and George were working together. Lordy. But that album has got some absolute tunes on it, and again, it's very varied. There's a little kind of a gospel-y in there. There's a mixture of, but as George was saying, that mixed into one track.
Yeah.
I forgot one thing. It's the most exciting thing that's happened all year, and I forgot to tell you.
Oh.
I'm actually working with Tony Visconti, who is my hero. He produced Bowie.
Wow, yeah.
I've actually accidentally started doing a track with him, and that's something I've wanted to do since I was 14. I never thought I would ever do it. So it's quite funny going back and forward on mixes with Tony Visconti and telling him, turn this up. It's like, oh my God. It's quite exciting.
That's very exciting.
It's really cool, yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing that.
It's huge.
Yes. And then final question, it's just a quick answer if you want. There has obviously been a lot of talk about a movie being made about your life. Now, I'm very lucky to have gone to see a movie about somebody else's life and sat next to George.
Oh, okay.
We went to see
Bohemian
Rhapsody.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is a great movie, but it's even better when you sit next to Boy George and watch it, because as we left the cinema, George is killing himself laughing, and I'm like, what are you laughing at? And he goes, they left loads out. So the movie, fingers crossed that comes out, but I'm just hoping, do you think there'd be a role for me? Just a quick cameo?
Oh, yeah.
I think so, because, we did go to a lot of radio stations in the 80s, and I do remember coming on your show, on your show now, but I remember right at the beginning sort of coming on your show. So I think it's not within the sort of realms of impossibility, is
but
it?
I don't need to play just a DJ. I don't even. I could play. You know, I'm a great character actor, George.
You want to do what Adam Lambert did in the Queen movie and play like someone picking up a lorry driver?
Do you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, take it. Yeah.
If it gets me 2 tickets to the premiere, I'll take it.
It would be funny if we could get you to play some sort of, like very, Truman Capote type, with a cigarette holder and a little bit, a bit fey. Darling, come in.
Listen, I'm available. I'm absolutely available. George, lovely to speak to you. Loads of love. You look.
Have an amazing day and have a great show. Thank
you. And you look fabulous. And I'll speak to you before the gig. But have a great night on the 19th of December at Wembley.
Awesome. Oh no, I can't believe I said that.
Yeah, he's back in the A-team.
The A-team again.
Totally awesome.
Bye, George.
Bye.
See you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Boy George, you can get tickets right now to see him at Wembley on the 19th of December. Get them now.